Okay, brothers and sisters, the time for holding back is gone now. Our keynote speaker has been waiting patiently. I will say this as we introduce our keynote speaker, Reverend Shock. Unlearning all the false information we have been programmed with takes time and patience, but we've got this, man. We've got this. And so today, brothers and sisters, there's nearly 400 of us with laptops. I don't know what the full account is with those with mobile phones, my BK. We have been waiting patiently to the brother that we've fallen head over heels in love with, not just because of his wisdom. His heart is so beautiful. I can talk. I'm not just saying he's not like this just on the screen. He's like this in private too, brothers and sisters. I can bear witness to this brother and his majesty and his beautiful heart. We're now going to be starting, brothers and sisters, a landmark case today. We're dealing with the power to collapse time, the decolonization of the African mind and a manifestation of our highest destiny. Brothers and sisters, we from tonight, I'm never going to go into it until Dr. Reverend Shock goes into it himself properly. Brothers and sisters, tonight we are going to go and launch an 8-week course. Brothers and sisters, I'm telling you now, when you listen to Reverend Shock tonight, it doesn't end there, it's the beginning. We want to take it outside of the Hidden Truth platform on a Tuesday, and we're gonna be running an 8-week course starting in March. For those of you who are really serious, the brother's gonna go into it, and we're gonna drop you the links where you can literally get full information and register for this course. It's gonna be a course containing with Reverend Shock's the foundation of course. I can't take nothing away. I can't say it's me and him. It's his course. I'm not gonna take no congratulations or well done, Brother Andrew. It's him, it's his idea, it's his baby, but he will be supported by myself and Lady Adele. But this is the night. Get your notebooks and pens ready. Our Reverend is in town all the way from the West Coast. Reverend Shock, how you doing, my king?
I am absolutely fantastic. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me, my brother?
We hear you, and we can see you clearly, big brother.
Fantastic. My brother, you have, as always, I don't know how you do this every week. I'm trying to catch up just doing what I do once a month. But I'm just letting you know, man, the brother that you had on earlier was so on point. And the sister, well, and what was the sister's name? You had a sister on there who was talking about mental health. She was on point.
Oh, Sister Samara.
No, not
Sister Samara.
Sister Samara. And then, of course, Lady Ma'at. Now, this is interesting. So this is how cosmic time works when we talk about this concept called shock, seeking higher omnipotent conscious or cosmic knowledge. I specifically remember Dr. Elaine saying, you really need to watch this piece that Lady Ma'at did on Hidden. This is about 2 weeks ago or so. And I deliberately didn't watch it because I don't like to be influenced by other great scholars. So what I always do is I just create what I create. And if I'm in line, if I'm in alignment, and if I'm one with the one, it's going to be in alignment with that cosmic energy. So today, what she presented, and then what I'm assuming this concept of critical thinking, which she did the last 2 weeks, what I'm getting ready to share with you completely supports everything that she has done, which I'm blown away. I'm like, what is going on when you are in that cosmic energy and one with the one? The sister who was talking about mental health, this is interesting. Also, what's her name?
Sister Samara, and she's very touchy with her name. You've got to pronounce it.
Okay, so I'll get it right. Sister Samara. Okay, I don't want to get hurt, you know. So I just completed writing my dissertation. Can you believe that? I just finished writing it. I haven't submitted it yet. I got to fine tune it and get everything right. But I just literally last night, I printed it out. And in there, this is how crazy this cosmic energy and collapsing time is. In there is a piece which I'm going to be presenting tonight on the science of mimetics, which we're going to talk about and how we got here. Woo! But in there's a segment on the APA, the American Psychological Association, on October 29th, 2021, they issued an apology for their role and propagation of systemic racism since they were founded, I think in like 1842 or something of that nature. So this sister is on point. You were talking about mental illness. Well, the entire system, and also supporting the brother that was on first, and then Lady Maat, the system is designed and supports this level of mental debauchery that we have been subjected to. So I want to commend Sister Samara. Anything that I could do to help, you guys can literally just go online and search for the APA apology. But it's not an apology. What it is, it's a legal document so they won't get sued. Because after all of what has happened in 2020 and George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, they recognize that, oh, we need to cover our butt so we won't get sued for our past work in keeping the African and the African American in mental debauchery. So this, you guys, I don't know how this works, but I just know that it works. I'm just so honored to be a part of this. And Lady Maat, you almost brought me to when you came on, and I don't know if she's still with us. She's probably gone, and she's probably somewhere out in the ethers just floating, because that's what she does. You know, she don't walk no damn where. She just floats around and just
I'm
do,
here,
do
Reverend
things, you know.
Shock. Reverend Shock, I'm here.
Hey, how you doing, my beloved? I missed
I'm in
you.
the
I haven't seen you in a
background,
while. Yes, indeed. Well, you are definitely what we call Amma. We don't use the word God anymore. We're reducing that because Amma is our first word, first terminology for the divine, for the creator. God is a Germanic word that means outside of, and God is not outside of us. Amma is us. We are Ammas. So I just want to say, from Amma to Amma, you rocked the house, and you almost brought me to tears when you brought up I mean, I was just like, you got to be kidding me. That was so, what is it called, a mezuzah? Is that what it's called, Lady Maud?
Yes, it's called the mezuzah. The Jewish put that little box, it's called a mezuzah.
I absolutely need, we're going to probably figure out how we can do one with our affirmation of power. Thank you so much for that. That was absolutely amazing. So, that being said, go ahead, Brother Andrew.
Reverend Shaw, as you're getting ready to share your screen, because I'm shutting up, brother. As you're getting ready to share your screens, quite a few people have been asking, what does SHOCK stand for? You did say it, but they were trying to write it down.
Sure. SHOCK stands for Seeking Higher Omnipotent, and it's spelled omnipotent, but is pronounced omnipotent, conscious or / cosmic, the C, knowledge. SHOCK is seeking higher omnipotent, conscious, or cosmic knowledge. And when I saw what you presented today and what I'm getting ready to present to you, again, nothing is wrong with us. Something happened to us. We're getting ready to go into the science and the system of how this happened to us, what is happening to us, but also what we can do to counter it, because there's a science known as mimetics. That, of course, everything comes from Africa, but it's called mimetics, and we're going to go into that right now. Let me see here if I can. I got a couple of things I need to do. Share my screen. I remember last time, share my sound, optimize for video clip. I don't know what that means, but that's what I'm going to do, just to optimize it, to make sure that the videos that I have in here play. Let's see, it's my keynote. And I'm going to share, and let's see if everybody can see my screen. Are you able to see?
We can see it clearly, brother. We can see it clearly.
Okay. Now I am going to, let's see if I can move. Okay, I've got to move this around a little bit so I can click on my play button. Are you able to see that full screen, my brother?
We can see it full screen. There's something kind of blocking. I don't know if you've got anything on your, but there is a blocking. I don't know if you've got like a floating bar or something there.
Oh yes, in the bottom. Yeah, that's the what do you call that? The gift that's running back and forth there. So no, that's supposed to be there.
No, at the top. At the top, yeah.
I don't know what's going on. Okay, hold on. Let's try it. Wait a minute now. Okay, wait a minute now. Just done that. Let's see here at the top. I think
it's your floating bar, but it's okay, brother. It's not bad. We can run with it.
Okay. Oh, the chat stuff in the video. You see all of that up there?
Oh, it's gone now.
I don't know. I
think
can't
it's gone
see
now.
it. I can't see it.
It's
Okay,
all
well,
yours.
let's just start out. Let's just start out with our affirmation of power again, as we move forward with this amazing time that we're with Brother Andrew Muhammad and the team. Y'all are absolutely amazing, and of course, my extended family in the UK. I love all of you. Thank you so much for being with me today. I am one with first frequency. I am one with the first thought idea. I am one with the firstborn people. I am one with the only one. Ashe, and so it is.
Ashe, Ashe.
For those of you who are new to me, I dedicate all of my work, my life, to these three spiritual mothers, Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman, who says you are the thinker who thinks the thought that makes the thing. And Reverend Dr. Helen Carey and Reverend, well, she's not a Reverend, but she's a Reverend to me, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing Ashe. I'd like to dedicate this presentation to two elders who changed the game, who was a guiding light for us, that paid a huge price to be the best of the best. And their time now has come for them to be on the ancestral plane. And we want to say Ashe to Cicely Tyson and to Sidney Poitier. Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe. And a special dedication to Regina King and to Ian Alexander Sr., the loss of their son, their only son, Ian Alexander Jr. Again, nothing is wrong with us. Something happened to this brother. We're going to go through some science today that hopefully will be able to explain to you what that is and what you can do about it to save yourself, because I don't know about your story, but I know about my story. And after 56 years, there was a time when I came very close to being Ian Alexander Jr. And I just want you to understand that I am put here for a reason. I have finally figured out what that reason is. Some of us don't know what that reason is, but if you ask and keep asking, you will find out your reason for being here. And I always say that when you find your purpose, Amma will give you your assignment. This is my assignment, family. So first frequency of oneness, again, if this is your first time here, first frequency of oneness is a theosophical social science ministry that exclusively teaches Africans and African Americans how to create a spiritual, psychological, and emotional barrier to the second frequency hidden signal of racial battle fatigue and racialized domestic terror. We move the African and African American from the effects of their false racial identities that we call third and fourth frequencies. We'll talk about that a little bit. We help the African and the African American overcome their trauma bonding, capture bonding, and Stockholm Syndrome to whiteness, which is what is killing us, which is why the suicide rate in our communities are so high. First frequency of oneness, science, manifestation, and prosperity is a culturally specific teaching ministry, and it's exclusively for us by us. We specialize in healing and removing the ancestral, historical, and incarnate trauma within us. We help us reveal our natural and original first frequency signal and vibration. And this is based on African sacred science, not self-help systems or self-esteem. We don't care how you feel. We just want you to be able to feel. We want you to be the best of the best and know who you are. And so that, therefore, we are a teaching ministry, not a preaching ministry. So who is the metaphysical Morpheus? I have a master's degree in metaphysical science and philosophy, a PhD in metaphysical science and philosophy in progress. Ashe 2022, hopefully this will be this will be the year. So you can go to metaphysicalmorpheus.com and download a 3-part fireside chat that I did with, shout out to Reverend Billy B. Man Bird, who just became a licensed metaphysical minister, I think January, as a matter of fact. So I'm excited about that. Congratulations to Reverend Billy B. Man Bird. That's my dude. That's my right and left arm in this ministry. As you know, I'm the founder of this ministry of First Frequency of Oneness.com. Answering that question earlier, SHOCK stands for Seeking High Omnipotent Conscious or Cosmic Knowledge. I'm also the founder of the Shock Metaphysics Virtual Comedic Wisdom School. We have a free 6-day course that you can take at shockmetaphysics.com. Now, let's play one of our elders in our ministry is Dr. Clyde Winters. Let's hear what he has to say about the first frequency of oneness framework.
Go ahead, Dr. Winters, about frequency.
Okay, as I said earlier, it's very important to understand that Reverend Matthews, you've given a theoretical basis that explain why white people under white supremacy has to fight teaching of history. They want us to only study slavery. They only want us to study colonialism. They're afraid of ancient history because ancient history says that we are a first frequency people. And because we're first frequency people, as you've shown. And see, remember when I say theoretical, what I'm talking about is that, remember, you begin with a theory,
right?
Then you confirm the theory, then it becomes a law. In reality, what you're teaching, Reverend Matthews, is a law. But we have to, when it says demonstrate, that it's not just a theory, by showing that history theoretical constructions.
Wow.
You see, there's paradigms. There's paradigms that you have to look at. And so I look at this from a scientific basis.
Yes.
And if you're going to look at history from a scientific basis, you not only have the content of the history, but you have to have a foundation. See? And the foundation is that we're, number one, prisoners. We are, as prisoners, we are subject to various frequencies that has been forced on us as a result of white supremacy and racial warfare. Remember, racial warfare is the key to understanding. You cannot be a Black researcher and not say that Black people exist, that there is a Black race. But you find all these third frequency people trying to run away from that idea that we're Black. Because see, they don't understand. When you study ancient history, you understand in a sense that ancient history is a checkerboard, the Black and the white. But God was what? God was the great beyond, so God had to be Black.
That's right.
Because we're surrounded by Blackness, but God, in a sense, allowed us to have some light. That's why we live on this planet. But once you leave the planet, everything is Black. We're in the arms of God. That's right. We're in the arms of God. And so your ideas of frequency allow us to be able to put closing on why they hate us to teach history. Because when you look at frequency, and you know these people were Black at one time, but their experience in the cave made them hate you. Haven't you ever wondered? Haven't you ever wondered why they hate foundational Black Americans? They love Caribbeans. They love Nigerians, Africans, but they don't like foundational Black Americans because we dare to challenge them. Not only do we challenge them, but every time they look at you, they look at your genius. We built this country. They've always told you that you don't have a culture. American culture is our culture. The food they eat.
The only culture.
The music. American culture is our culture. But you have to understand that this is hidden from us because Black people don't understand that they're first frequency.
Yes.
See? And because they're first frequency, you have to move them away from the third frequency and definitely from the fourth frequency. And the only way you can move that is by allowing people to know their ancestry. See, remember,
Right. That's right.
our ancestry is African. We have African ancestry, every Black person on earth. But every Black person, may they live in Nigeria, may they live on the Pacific Islands, they have a different heritage. See, my heritage is Mississippi. I know that the Winters brought my great-great-granddaddy to Mississippi. And they became the Winters. But then I know on my mother and my grandmother's side, these were Choctaw. And because they were Choctaw, they came together and they became foundational Black Americans. It's very important to understand that we're the Aboriginal people. Why are we Aboriginal? We're Aboriginal because we're a combination of those black people who already lived here and our ancestors who were kidnapped from Africa and brought here. See, the so-called colored people.
Yeah.
But you have to have a theoretical foundation to understand any paradigm, to understand how to present historiography. And that's where you come in, Reverend Matthews, with the frequencies.
All right, family, let's move on. Thank you for that, Dr. Winters. All right, so let's get into our dissertation for today. What is mimetics? Mimetics is the study of how memes move, replicate, duplicate, and imitate, and is based on evolutionary psychology. This was discovered back in 1976 by Richard Dawkins, who says the word meme is a neologism coined by himself. You can go and get The Selfish Gene, the book, and this is a system that is defined as a self-reproducing and propagating information structure analogous to a gene in biology. Memes consist of information which persist, propagate, and influence human behavior. So, what does this mean? It means that there is a genetic component to telling our story, keeping our story alive, being the griots, and we're going to go into that later on into the program. But what happened to us and what is continuing to happen to us is this concept of mimetics that we're going to go deep into. So now, what is a meme? Let's talk about that. You hear this term meme all the time, perhaps when you're doing social media, but a meme is a basic unit of cultural transmission or imitation, as well as a unit of information whereby an idea, listen carefully, an idea can catch on and become viral, making it a distinct, memorable unit of cultural transmission. So are memes good or bad? No, there are only two types of memes that we need to be aware of that is happening to us and creating this harm and this detriment to us. There are two types of memes. Exotoxic memes are harmful to others. So these are memes that when you either show them, speak them, share them, it harms a person or a group. Autotoxic memes are harmful to the self. When we sit up and we call ourselves the N-word, we call ourselves bitch, hoe, thug, thought, baby mama, date, baby daddy, these are autotoxic memes that are harmful to self. When we sit up, pardon my French, and say, I ain't shit, you ain't shit, we ain't no good, we this, that, and the third, that's autotoxic, that's self-harming memes that harm us. But here's the thing that you need to understand, fam. Whiteness, supremacy ideology, colonialism, and the Ma'afa are all exotoxic memes that have been and are currently harmful or hazardous to first frequency Africans and African Americans. When exotoxic memes are turned inward, it creates an autotoxic meme that's harmful and hazardous to the host, which is us. This is the genetic component to self-hate. So autotoxic memes destroys the first frequency African American from the inside out. This is what Lady Ma'at has been talking about for the last 3 weeks in terms of critical thinking. The science behind what she presented and the science behind what they are doing to us is known as mimetics. So whiteness is an exotoxic meme or memeplex. We're going to get into that momentarily, but it creates autogenocide. Autogenocide, there are 3 levels or 3 sides of autogenocide that whiteness produces. Genocide is the killing of the other. Homicide is the killing of each other. Suicide is the killing of ourselves. And so this is, again, nothing's wrong with us, something happened to us. So when we understand how we explain this mass suicides, mass homicide, we have to look at the exotoxic memeplex that has turned inward into an autotoxic memeplex where we then begin to harm and hurt ourselves. So what is a memeplex or a meme complex? A memeplex is a group or cluster of symbiotic synergistic memes that work together. All religion is a memeplex. Colonialism, whiteness and white supremacy is a memeplex. Anti-miscegenation, which I talk about many times on this program, but you've probably heard it also on my show with Dr. Jacqueline Badalore, when the invention of white people in America and the ideology of white supremacy, that is a memeplex. So I want you to understand what this is. This is a system of thought. It's a unit of culture that when all of these memes come together and everyone is thinking on the same accord, it becomes and looks biological. It's not biological, it's ideological, which is transferred epigenetically via telomeres and throughout history. So it's an idea that becomes a virus. How do they move? There's three ways that a meme or a memeplex moves. One, fidelity. How powerful is the original copy? So when they created the anti-miscegenation laws, where they said that a person of African descent, well, one, when the invention of white people were created in between 1664 and 1681, that ideology, that virus, that gave the poor British the ability to create a unification against everything else and everyone else, and put the African at the bottom. So those three laws were: a person of African descent could not vote or run for office. A person of African descent could not buy a gun or own a gun or purchase gunpowder. So you couldn't protect yourself, you couldn't protect your family. So they're taking the African man and releasing his power of being the man of the house, of being able to protect. I forgot who it was that was talking about the concept of the deer. When the male deer, he keeps circling back because he wants to protect. This is a memeplex that was installed to take the African man out of the home to be able to protect himself and his family and his queen. The third law in that anti-miscegenation and the fidelity of that, which is the original copy of this, was that a person of African descent could not sue or take any legal action against this new false designation of humanity called white people. And we see that today when cops kill us or when the industry kills us, either by homicide or suicide, that there is no one held culpable. Well, yes, there is someone held culpable, and this is what we're going to learn. The second level is fecundity. Fecundity, after that original meme, we could use this analogy too online, like when you see a meme, how does it go viral? How many times can it be duplicated and replicated and imitated? Now, back in 1681, we didn't have Facebook. We didn't have Twitter or social media. The social media at the time was the Christian church. These anti-miscegenation laws were presented on the stair steps of the church and spoken to the group or to the colonies on a regular basis. That's how it became replicated. That's how it duplicated, and that's how they spread the message back in the day. And then thirdly, longevity. How long can this meme or memeplex or this autotoxic and exotoxic meme and memeplex, how long will it last? This is the science behind scientific racism. This is how racism, whiteness, supremacy, systemic racism, this is how it spread. Now, we know that we have a memeplex, and that is sharing our story via the griots, via anyone who is giving information to keep our story alive, to tell us who we are, what our ancient history is, the power of that. So Lady Adele, Andrew Muhammad, the brother and sister that were on earlier, and everyone that you see on Hidden Truth, Dr. Lane, all of my brothers and sisters, all of you are perpetuating a positive meme and memeplex. So you are the modern day griots of our time. So the longer a meme or memeplex can last, it becomes viral and creates what's known as a thought virus. Now, a thought virus is something that, and I pardon, as best I can, I always try, but I still always miss it. Something that catches on, I forgot the that, and becomes a self-perpetuating, self-mobilizing, self-replicating idea or ideology that is mimetically passed down intergenerationally, epigenetically, which is genetic memory, and culturally. So now you're beginning to see how this thing continues to spread, how it continues to replicate, duplicate, and why you can't necessarily get rid of it, because the only way to get rid of an autotoxic or exotoxic memeplex is to do what we're doing right now. And that is to create the truth. That's why it's called hidden truth, because there's a truth that was hidden. Brother Andrew Muhammad is bringing us the truth. He's making the seen and the unknown known. As a result, that memeplex wakes us up. We have an aha moment, and then by default of how mimetics works, we are compelled to tell someone. That's like when you saw The Matrix for the first time, or you saw a movie like Black Panther. You were compelled to tell somebody, oh my God, I just saw this, you got to see it. That's mimetics. That's the science of mimetics. It's genetically encoded in us to share our story. So this is why I tell the family, nothing's wrong with you, something happened to you. Your first frequency signal, Africans and African Americans are not damaged, and we're not broken. We're simply interrupted. The signal has been interrupted by an exotoxic, a very harmful and hazardous meme complex, a complex of memes that have congealed together, that have replicated over time and become an ideology that looks like it's biological. So whiteness and the ideology of supremacy is mimetically driven thought viruses that has maintained fidelity, which is the original copy when it first was designed in 1681, when white people were invented as a matter of law in America. Fecundity, how many times it replicates and duplicates, and then longevity, how many years, 500 to be exact. Hopefully this is making sense. If so, please put a 1 in the chat, which I can't see, but we like to see it anyway, because I'll see it later and I'll get some emails from Brother Andrew Muhammad. So let's get deep into this. Second frequency, whiteness supremacy. You know I love you, my brother. You're my dude. You're my dude. So, and you know, you're the only guy. You're the only guy that I do this for. I don't do this for any other platform, not even mine. I produce content exclusively for Hidden Truth for Brother Andrew Muhammad, and I present it. And if you know, and I'm like, if you missed this, y'all just missed out. That's why y'all need to be with this brother. I don't know why or how he brings it out in me, but I swear to God, y'all know y'all don't see this on my channel. I don't do this on my channel. So I'm sitting up with Andrew called me the other day. How you doing, my beloved? I'm like, I'm good, man. I'm sitting here working on the PowerPoint right now. You know, I just love him so. He's the dude. So let's look at this, fam. When our first frequency signal was interrupted by second frequency Amu, it launched the exotoxic memeplex or thought virus known as the Ma'afa, the Black Holocaust, right? When young first frequency Black boys and girls are interrupted by second frequency signal of assimilation, indoctrination, domestication, and colonization, watch this carefully, they develop what Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu refers to as the fourth grade syndrome. So let's take a look at this. When we are first introduced, wherever we are in the world, to what we call the three white boys, the white boy on the boat, Columbus, the white boy on the stick, Jesus, the white boy in the sky, God, creates and installs at that moment an autotoxic, harmful to self, memeplex or complex or thought virus of self-hate. That self-hate manifests as anti-Blackness and becomes encoded in our DNA. And thank you to Dr. Elaine Ferguson for giving me this terminology. Then that creates number 4, the white boy in the cell. So it is that moment When we are introduced to these three white boys through colonialism, assimilation, domestication, the Black child whose nervous system and brain is not fully developed and functional and can't fight a toxic or exotoxic memeplex called colonial education. When you are introduced to, and this happened to me personally, you stop caring about education, and you do, and then they label you, as I was labeled, special ed, right? One of my mentors, Les Brown, the great motivational speaker, was labeled EMR, educably mentally retarded, because he went through the 4th grade syndrome. All of us get this indoctrination. Some of us are able to assimilate. When we do, we become good Negroes. We go to church. We believe in the white Jesus. Namaste. We do whatever we have to do to be able to blend in, get along, go along, and get along. But it is toxic to us, and it still kills us. Some of us rebel. We become 4th frequency. We become the thug, the thought, the bitch, the hoe, the nigga out here in these streets. And so we create a sub-frequency that still does not speak to our first frequency. So this is when our first frequency signal in terms of academia is interrupted. It's interrupted in the child, not even speaking about the epigenetics of the genetic memory that we come here with from our mother and our father. You can go to past shows and presentations for that. But this is where I want you to really understand what has happened to us. Nothing's wrong with us, something happened to us. I want my child to get a good quality education. Whenever you say you want a quality, good education, you're saying you want them to have a white, colonized, assimilated education. When you say, I want to move into a good school or a good home or a good neighborhood, you're really saying you want a colonized, assimilated society. That's what you have been proselytized to do. That's the memeplex. They've created this memeplex of colonization that takes when that Black boy can no longer see themselves in perpetuity, meaning they can no longer see themselves as Black and having a Black identity, they become a slave. At that point, they are indoctrinated. We are indoctrinated that we come from slavery. We have no past history. This is why you have all of your people who are in religion, which is a memeplex also, designed to say, I don't want to have nothing to do with Africa. I don't have nothing to do with those Hotep people. I don't want nothing to do with any of that stuff. That stuff is the devil, because they've made you afraid of yourself. You are afraid of the dark because you come from the dark. You come from the Black. So you have been made at that moment to be afraid of yourself and anything that looks like you. Therefore, that is the autotoxic memeplex. Now you're self-hating. Now you're anti-Black. So anything Black you betray, anything Black that looks like you, talks like you try to hurt and harm. And most time it's unconscious. So it then is transferred generationally, historically, through genetic memory called epigenetic. Now, let's go into this and take a really deep dive. So this splits. This when that signal is interrupted, that first frequency signal is interrupted by second frequency academia with those three white boys: the white boy in the boat, white boy in the stick, white boy in the sky. It becomes the white boy in the cell and manifests then as us, through us. That split and signal in the child. The child must choose two identities. You either become a good Negro or you become a nigger. Those are the only two choices that you have, right? So this is the third and fourth frequency, the framework that Dr. Clyde Winters was speaking of. The third and fourth frequency signal becomes multiple units of culture that self-replicates, self-duplicates, self-imitates, and maintains the fidelity, fecundity, and longevity of the exotoxic memeplex, or thought virus of whiteness supremacy, in perpetuity as a self-fulfilling prophecy that triggers our self-destruction and self-annihilation, hence auto-genocide. This is why we're killing ourselves, right? You think someone like Brother Ian, who's born into a wealthy family, a mother who's a queen, that has everything, you would think that he would have all of the things necessary for him to live and flourish an amazing life. But at 26, something happened to him. Something happened. There was an exotoxic meme that became autotoxic, and that memeplex began to fester, and he ended up self-annihilating himself and going through what we call auto-genocide. So whenever you go into a system of colonialism, and think about, the system of entertainment and what this sister, because we don't know her story, what she had to go through and what she was introduced to, what she had to assimilate to, what she had to become colonized to and to believe, that became that third frequency in her life. Because she didn't know about her first frequency. No entertainer does. No basketball player or entertainer or athlete. They don't know their first frequency. They don't know they're African. They might look and say, I am African, but they really don't know what that is and what that means to be first frequency. And so they're going to buy into some level of indoctrination from that memeplex. And so Carl Jung says, what we don't understand breaks off and becomes more primitive. So when you don't understand your true nature of who you are, you're going to become primitive. You're going to break off and become one of those lower frequencies, and you're going to start acting like your oppressor. You're going to start acting like second frequency Amu. You're going to, if you're in the fourth frequency level, you're going to kill your own people. If you were at third frequency level, you're going to talk about your own people and deny them access to being a part of your family. We know what happens when you get third frequency. You get, oh, I don't like so and so because of I don't like the way he or she wears her hair, and we just talk about each other and we ostracize each other. This is what Dr. Clyde Winters is talking about. B1. We sit up and we start arguing about, well, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. Well, I'm a Moor. Well, I'm a Christian. Well, I'm a Muslim. Well, I'm this and I'm that. And we're all B1, we're all African, we're all first frequency. But when you don't know your ancestry, which is Africa, you get locked and lost in the memeplex of your heritage, which is all of these labels that you get lost and locked into. Hopefully this is making sense, beloved. So Blackness is essential to the creation of white identity. This is Robin DiAngelo in the book White Fragility. She's been on my platform many times in the past years. She's not allowed back on anymore, but she was on there, and I got all the information, and then I gave it to my family. I'm like the Black Robin Hood of information. So scholars have argued that whites split off from their personalities. Remember the Carl Jung quote earlier, what we don't understand breaks off and becomes more primitive? Whites split off from themselves and project onto Black people the aspects that we white people don't want to own in ourselves. They know that they can't go back home to first frequency. Imagine not being able to go back home to your mother and father. Imagine not being able to go back home. They know they can't go back home. They know they can't access first frequency signal. So they project that hate, that victimization, that ostracizing from Amma onto the original people, creating autotoxicity in ourselves. So we end up hating ourselves, and we do to ourselves and each other what they want to do globally and have been doing for the last, actually more than 500 years from this, but just in American culture and history. But since they arrived from the cave. I hope that makes sense to you, fam. Now, what is the memeplex of whiteness or supremacy? So let's really get deep into this. White supremacy is arguably an ideological cluster of memes congealed for decades, misleading and infecting countless societies, forced to anyone who follows it. Now, Dr. Susan Blackmore is a British white scholar who's also a memeticist, and this is her work. You can get the book, The Meme Machine, and you can really get an idea of understanding. I recommend Lady Adele to add these books to her arsenal of critical theory, because this will then give her the ability to explain genetically what is happening. We know about the system of racism. We know about how the scientific institutionalized aspect of racism, but how does it manifest in the brain? How does it manifest neurobiologically? That is the science of memes and memetics. And that's why it's important for us to understand this, of how everything that we say and do is very powerful. This is why it's very important not to put I am in front of something negative. So if you say I ain't or I am not ish, well, you're invoking the power of Amma as a God, as a first frequency God, to keep perpetuating situations, problems, and challenges to ensure that you'll never be anything. So this is how we end up doing it to ourselves, because we don't know the power that we not just have, we don't know the power that we are. This creates a mass of mean plexus similar to religion. Again, this is quoted by Blackboard. This is also in my dissertation. Since whiteness was supported by what we call white Christian America. So there's a book called White Christian America. Everybody needs to get that book because it explains how Christianity and anti-miscegenation and the creation and invention of white people worked. You couldn't have Christianity without whiteness. You couldn't have whiteness without Christianity. That's what they did. That's how they justify everything that they've done to us. Everything that they have done, justifying slavery, justifying genocide, justifying rape, justifying murder, justifying castration and body mutilation. All of this is backed by what we call white WCA or white Christian America as a hierarchy of humanity. So again, fidelity, how accurate is the initial copy when it was created and invented. The fecundity, how many times did it get duplicated, replicated, and repeated? And then longevity, how long did it last? How long did it go? How long, when will it end? It will not end until there's a counter signal interruption. There has to be a counter signal interruption to the frequency that is interrupting you. So think of it like a radio transmission, right? The message of Amma is always in you, always has been at birth, but something happened to you. That was an interruption in your signal. And this false signal, second frequency, colonization, domestication, and assimilation, interrupted your original first frequency signal. Now that creates what? Capture bonding, Stockholm Syndrome. Capture bonding and Stockholm Syndrome is when you become, as Dr. Clyde said, a prisoner of war. When you are a prisoner of war, in order to eat, to have clothing, and to have shelter, in order for them to feed you, in order for you to have your Lexus, in order for you to go buy your food, in order for you to have a home, you have to comply to your captors until you learn how to get off the grid and to be independent or interdependent with your own people. But you don't do that because that signal has been interrupted. You have been taught to hate yourself, to hate anything Black, anything that is African, anything that is Black matter. And that's why in this system of second frequency, that signal constantly says, well, Black lives, in that system, it says Black lives matter. No, Black lives don't matter. Black matter lives. Black matter is the only matter. There is no other matter. Everything comes from the Black. Before you can talk about melanin, you got to talk about carbon. Carbon is Black. Amma, the universe, is Black. Dark matter, dark energy. But we're taught to be afraid of the dark. We're taught, the Dogon, before there were quote unquote lights, we mastered the dark. We were able to see the entire solar system and stars that a telescope couldn't see for the last since 200 years ago. Think about the original people, that original frequency and signal that was put onto the planet when Amma decided to replicate and duplicate itself in organic, what we call HUE, H-U-E, man form. When we became human form, it created the best of the best, something that would be able to handle anything that was below. As above, coming from as above, can handle anything below. As within, so without. So we mastered the dark. We mastered the sky. That's why we had temples. That's why we built architecture that still can't be duplicated to this, replicated to this day. We are geniuses, and that is all epigenetically stored into our genetic memory right now. We have access to that first frequency. So when you start to act up and act out, understand you are dealing with signal interruption, that you are not in your first frequency self. As a result of that, you are acting like a second, third, or fourth frequency identity based upon these mean plexes. So when we look at this idiot here in the States, he says, if you look at the statistics, African American voters are voting in just as high a percentage as Americans. Watch this coded language, fam. Remember earlier, I told you that when white people were invented as a matter of law in 1681, this was 100 years before the US Constitution was written. This was 100 years before the first meeting of Congress. This was 100 years before, I think it was Lady Adele put up Thomas Jefferson and all what we call the forefathers. They were born into the memeplex and ideology that America was white. So I'm pausing on that for a minute so that can settle in with you. This is what Dr. Jacqueline Battle-Lord teaches us in her work. To be American is to be white. Now we remember, I forgot the child's name. She was on Oprah. She was on the Disney Channel, and she said, I'm not African-American, I'm American. Now you've got a lot of Black people. This is third frequency when that signal gets split and interrupted. I'm not African-American, I am simply American. Well, that means you have now been co-opted, successfully assimilated, indoctrinated, insulated, and isolated into second frequency thought. So now you are autotoxic. You are a danger, not only to yourself, but you are a danger to other first frequency Africans. You are a danger to your own population because now you have been assimilated. You are a robot, what we call the Borg in Star Trek. You have been assimilated. Resistance is futile. This is what it looks like. This is mimetics. This is the science behind it. And it looks like it's real. It feels real, but it ain't real, family. It's simply a memeplex. And we're going to teach you today how to counter this. But this is fascinating because Dr. Battle-Lord talks about the concept of a contingent American. So this is why we say African American, Muslim American, Asian American, so on and so forth. Because to be American is to be white. Anything else outside of that, and remember what Robin DiAngelo says, when white people splits their identity, everything then becomes the other and contingent. The Naturalization Act of 1870 made it clear that in order to be an American citizen, you had to be white. Now, so when we talk about fidelity, fecundity, and longevity, the three tenets of mimetics, of creating a meme, that fidelity, the original copy, 1870, the Naturalization Act, that is when it originated, and then it spread. The fecundity is spread throughout history, is spread throughout colonialism, is spread throughout quote unquote America, and it had longevity. It did not come off the books and was deemed unconstitutional until 1952. How many generations of lives were completely torn apart from 1870 to 1952 just from that one memeplex? Because there's multiple memplexes that we're dealing with, right? So the multiple assault on multiple levels, right? Neely Fuller, go back to Neely Fuller, and you can go through all of those levels and lists that he has. Those are memplexes. They're a cluster of memes that are symbiotic, that work together to keep the African, first frequency African, in an autotoxic realm where they hurt and harm themselves, a level of confusion. Divide and conquer strategy. So this is the anti-miscegenation law that I talked about earlier. The false racial construct called white people was invented as a matter of law in colonial America that created and gave birth to white supremacy. This is the genesis. You cannot be American and not have white. We had colonialism prior to whiteness, but when white people were invented, that's when white supremacy, quote unquote, was created. And these are the three laws that I talked about earlier that came down. You couldn't vote, you couldn't own guns or gunpowder, and now you couldn't sue or take legal action against this new designation called white people. So let's hear what Dr. Jacqueline Battle-Lord has to say.
Okay, so here,
Watch
let me
this.
just sum up what this historical information reveals to us about whiteness, white people, as they were invented. We were invented. So we know that white people were built upon the idea that the British elite had of themselves as white, as Christian, as freeborn, and as deserving of rights and privileges from which others can be denied. So that you learn through an analysis of the laws through which they created and asserted this entirely new group of humanity called white people. And then the historical context reveals to us that white people were invented to divide. We have served that purpose ever since.
Wow, that's a very powerful statement.
To divide humanity, and the flip side of that is to protect and ensure the interests of the 1%.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason white people exist.
So did you get that, family? That's the only two reasons white people exist, is to divide and conquer and to protect the 1%. Look at what's happening in the world and listen to everything and anything that Lady Maat or Andrew Muhammad or any of the experts that are on this platform has to tell you. They're showing you exactly why they exist and what they are. They are, now this is interesting as well. When we talk about memes are not good or bad, there's only two types of meme, autotoxic or exotoxic, right? Exo, outside of, harmful to others. Auto, inside, autonomous. This memeplex called whiteness that mimics the ideology or creates the ideology of white supremacy, because ain't shit supreme about it, pardon my French. But this supremacy is collapsing inside of itself. It's an autotoxic meme to whiteness, to the person, to the individual themselves. So they are autogenocidal as well. And they're hoping that we kill ourselves before they kill themselves. But watch this, family. Look at what Amma is doing. Amma has been, anything that is not in alignment with nature, Amma and nature gets rid of. So look at the plague, look at the wars where they decimated their numbers, look at the birth dearth. The highest level of suicides in the world comes out of Japan, right? Then Amma says, hey, family, don't worry, I got you. Now, of course, because I'm Amma, because I'm the creator, I'm the all in all, it's going to take a little bit of time. So it might not happen in your generation. It might not happen in your incarnation during the time that you are alive, but it is happening because nature always wins. And so what we're going to do, what I'm going to do as Amma, as the creator, I'm going to create a viral program, a toxicity, that regardless of their weapons of mass destruction, regardless of their memeplexes, regardless of anything that they have done, I am going to, regardless of that mezuzah that Lady Adele spoke of, regardless of any of those things that you thought that gave you a sense of power, I'm going to unleash a viral program that eliminates and decimates you even more so than the opioid addiction and the meth addiction. You know, the opioid addiction kills wealthy white people. The meth addiction kills low economic and low academic white people, which was already there in a birth dearth, meaning they can't repopulate themselves to regenerate their numbers, which is why everything is moving to the 1%. Amma don't give a damn about that. Amma is saying, look, you're not of me, you're not from me, of me, about me. You are the original Ham, you are the original curse. As a result, I have to eliminate you off of this planet because nature is natural. Nature is natural, and natural is Black. Natural is African. So what we have to do is get out of Amma's way, because if you notice, this virus, when it started killing white people, wealthy communities, coastal, right? When I talked to all of my people in Africa, we don't have, they were like Mexicans, we don't have no stinky virus here, man. No, there's no virus here. We are healthy, we're healthy and whole, but it was on the coastal regions in cruise ships and where Asians and Eurasians congregate that this thing came to be. And so what we have to do is we have to move ourselves away from them so that that signal goes to them and not to us. Remember, I used the analogy of Joey and the handlebars, that we are riding our bikes off the cliff on Joey's handlebars, second frequency handlebars. That's why we're getting it. That's why we're dying, is because we're listening to the people who have done us the most harm and mean us no good. All right, let's keep going. Any questions? Any comments, Brother Andrew Muhammad, before I move on?
No, brother, you're killing it, soldier. You're killing it. I mean, comments are coming in left, right, and center, big brother. We've got 20 minutes left, King.
All right, King. So Catrice Jackson is the author of Weapons of Whiteness. She says, ain't nothing supreme about whiteness. It is the cesspool of humanity, confirming that since the European or British invasion began and they created a new label of humanity called white people, there has been an ideology that white folks are the superior race. The notion that white people are supreme, she says, I always laugh when I hear the word white used with supremacy or superiority. In Weapons of Whiteness, she says she believes supremacy is an oxymoron and laden with hypocrisy and terror. She goes on to say that that the race of white people has been more violent and terroristic than white folks. Nothing has been more terroristic and violent than white folks, and that no other ethnicity of people has collectively committed as many crimes against humanity as white folks have. So the ideological thought virus confirming that white terrorism collectively has been the most fatal virus to ever infect humanity. She goes on to say mutilation, human breeding, castration, pedophilia, sodomy, murder, lynching, human trafficking, starvation, and intellectual theft, degradation, dehumanization, incarceration, and spiritual and cultural destruction. This is the result of first frequency signal interruption from second frequency Amu that produced the thought virus or memeplex of the Ma'afa. This has spread around the world, infecting, effecting, and affecting African origin people since the arrival from the caves. Hopefully this is making sense as we start to get into who we are. African sacred science, today known as metaphysics, is a memeplex. So our sacred science is a memeplex that has fidelity, has fecundity, and longevity that began with the first frequency, womb, man, and man in perpetuity. So it is our original signal, it's our original frequency that can never be destroyed. It can only be interrupted and then subsequently fully restored. When first frequency is restored, the African can literally collapse time, meaning nothing is lost, and become unthawed from second frequency ice people who froze us in their time. This gives the African the ability to completely decolonize their mind, body, and spirit for the very first time. Many of us are walking around, we have this knowledge of self, but we're not decolonized. So we have a knowledge, but we take the knowledge within second frequency and we go back out into our communities and we act like third and fourth frequency people. So this is why we have to learn how to collapse time. So the griot is a West African historian, a storyteller, praise singer, poet, or musician. The griot is the repository or memeplex or genetic ancestral memory of oral tradition, and is often seen as a leader due to their position as an advisor to our royal personages. This is Andrew Muhammad. He is a griot. He is the king of mimetics and metaphysics. And so what he does is through his platform, but through his science first. He has to have the science and the knowledge first, because you can't have a meme. It can't be a memeplex until you share it with someone. Otherwise, it's in your head. If you don't share it, nobody will ever know about it. It can't become mimetic. So it can't become, based on the law of attraction, it can't go out and attract other memeplexes or other memes to create this complex of memes. So Brother Andrew had to share his knowledge. Once he started sharing his knowledge on this, using Zoom as this platform, it became a memetical society. As a griot, he then, because like attracts like, first frequency recognizes first frequency, he then started attracting other gods, other amas, other first frequency people who also can fill in other levels of intellect and history, other griots, and now we have a huge memeplex that comes on every single week, and I think he does stuff on a daily basis. I don't know how he does any of this stuff because I can't do it. But he does this in such a crazy way, and every time, at least every time I'm on here, and every time I peep into a show, there's just the most amazing griots that I've ever seen and witnessed in my entire life. This is what memes do. This is who we are because we are first frequency. Now, our job is to learn nothing's wrong with us, something happened to us. And so when we understand meme plexes that are exotoxic now to whiteness, so how do we interrupt their signal? How do we interrupt the signal that has been embodied into us and become the white boy in the cell? Anything that speaks to Black identity, which is B1, ADOS, African Descendants of Slavery, FBA, Foundational Black Africans, all of that Black identity, all of that stuff, that what we're doing, that is killing their signal. It's an interruption of their signal. Remember, in thermodynamics, energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be changed, transformed, or transmuted. So now what we have to do is we have to create the meme plexes that counter their meme plex because they can't kill it. You're thinking, oh, I'm going to kill white supremacy. I'm going to fight against it. No, that's the psychopathy that we have been indoctrinated with. You can't kill energy. You can only counter it. So you have to become the griot. You have to get the knowledge and information from the people like myself, from Brother Andrew Muhammad, from Baba Kaba, Dr. Elaine, all of us, Dr. Noble. If you just, it doesn't come out, it can't become mimetic. So I want you to really understand that and get that. In order for you to become a living, walking memeplex, you must share your history, your knowledge, and this information with others. That is your job. That's how you defeat the system. Okay? So critical race theory kills and interrupts the signal of second frequency. Diversity, equity, inclusion training kills the frequency of second frequency. And the more so than anything else that kills second frequency is first frequency, ma'at. Ma'at overpowers and overcomes and cancels the signal of the ma'afa. In the island of memes, this actually, I think it's only two brothers that are doing this. I'm now considered a mimeticist, as well as Dr. Wade Nobles. He wrote the book, The Island of Memes, which was the first time that a Black scholar that I have read even acknowledged the science of mimetics. But in that book, he says, the deep thinkers of the African world are on the brink of reclaiming a system of thinking and doing that cannot fall victim to non-African cultural hegemony and intellectual domination. So in other words, you can't share this with them. This is for us, by us. This is who we are. So this is what we have to do, family. So now, that being said, nothing's wrong with us. Something happened to us. So just as that's a meme. So I've been studying mimetics since 04 is when I first learned about mimetics. I was doing a workshop or a seminar, and there was an industrial psychologist in the audience, and she mentioned this term mimetics, and I went back and I went buck wild, and I actually ended up interviewing Dr. Susan Blackmore, who wrote the book, The Meme Machine, who's a mimeticist. And then I learned how to use mimetics and match that with metaphysics to create the reality in the world that I wanted to create to counter the signal of me when I was third frequency and me when I was fourth frequency. So you want to repeat to yourself over and over again, nothing is wrong with Black people, something happened to Black people. Nothing is wrong with me, something happened to me. Nothing is wrong with my parents, something happened to my parents.
Reverend?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Oh, brother, I don't know what to say to you, brother. I mean, I'm just looking, just to give you a list. Sister, was it Joseph says, brother, talk on. Shade said, this is not hate, you're talking facts. Sister Heather Simpson literally says, I'm burning up on fire. I'm loving this knowledge, feeling a new study area. Now, she doesn't know. This is the foundation of a new course we're going to be launching in March, brothers and sisters. Joseph says, the truth can never be hidden. I mean, brother, it's just one or two more. Sister Doreen X says, counter meme plexes. We've got to counter it now.
Yes, yes.
Julia Mosley says, teach our children and grandchildren. And I love what Brian
Yes.
Benno Smith said. Brother Brian says, jailbreak
Brother
the
Vito.
Babylon system. Jailbreak.
That's right. That's right. Love that. Love that. That's my brother from another mother.
Teach, brother, teach.
So when we repeat these memes, because these are memes, affirmations are memes. When we do the power, the affirmation of power and protection, that's a meme. When you repeat it to someone, it becomes a memeplex. So this is what has happened. When I install a meme into the community, it becomes a memeplex. It develops from the original time that the ancestors gave it to me. I am one with first frequency. I'm one with the first thought I did. When the ancestors and Amma gave that to me, I shared it. The moment I shared it, it became mimetic and it went around the world. That's how, and that is a counter now to second frequency signal. When you feel you are going through something, you feel some kind of way, you repeat that meme and you restore the balance of your first frequency. You interrupt the signal. Now, what we're going to do in this piece on collapsing time, and I'll talk about that in a moment, I'm going to teach you what I've used for the last 40 years.
Come on.
Of how I've been able to master my world and master my life. I come from poverty. I come from welfare. I come from suicide attempt. I come from losing my parents at age 14, right? If anybody should be suicidal and it should have been me. And I tried. But something inside of me kept me moving, kept me going, because I learned how to control my mind. I learned how to collapse time. Nothing is missing, it's only fragmented. Because that frequency cannot be interrupted, it can't be killed. It can be interrupted, but it can't be killed. Every genetic memory in the Akashic records or in the quantum field, whatever term you want to use it, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to manifest is there. It's just been fragmented due to the interruption. So when you repeat, nothing is wrong with my parents, something happened to my parents. Nothing is wrong with my children, something happened to my children. Nothing is wrong with my family, something happened to my family. Those are memplexes that then begins to explain what happened to you and what happened to, why is your mother and father acting the way they're acting? Why did they do to you what they did to you? Nothing's wrong with them, something happened to them. Now you are interrupting the signal. That second frequency says you are a victim of your own society. You are destructive people. You are cursed people. That is a bullshit signal interruption lie. I want you to understand that. Nothing can be wrong with the original people because Amma made you. Amma made you. Amma did not make them. Nature turned them. Remember back in the day in the old vampire movies, I think it was in Blade, when the vampire was talking about another vampire, said, well, you know, I was born a vampire. You were merely turned. Second frequency was turned. They ain't original. They're not the chosen ones. We are and have always been. Let me get off my horse there for a moment. I got to finish this presentation.
Brother, this is great teaching,
y'all have real talk out here. Y'all have me out there, boy. I tell you, I get too excited. All right, so I want you to learn. I'm closing out. I want you to learn about this concept. I call it locked and looped. This is what is happening to us, the habit loop. Listen carefully. Are you locked into a mimetical loop that you feel you can't escape? Do you find yourself back in the same place experiencing the same problems or challenges after you thought you had overcome them? Thought you got past it? Oh, Lord, here it is again. Some of the sisters out there, I thought I got rid of this crazy ass son bitch, and here's another one right here in a different set of clothing with new cologne on, and this is the same crazy son bitch that I thought I had let go, and this, how does this keep happening to me? Do you feel stuck, insulated, isolated, or trapped in a life loop that no matter how many books you have read or buy, how many YouTube videos you watch, how many seminars and workshops you attend, you can't break free to the other side? See, this is a mimetical loop. You're looping. The goal of second frequency I Move family, listen to this, most important paragraph in the whole presentation, is to keep the African in an epigenetically locked and looping system of fear and confusion. Now remember, I didn't hear nothing that I didn't see the first two pieces that Lady Adele talked about. But then when I came on today, this is exactly what she was talking about. So this is what it is. So they ensure, so let me read that part again. The goal of second frequency Amu is to keep the African in an epigenetically locked and looping system of fear and confusion. So they ensure you will lose your interest, you will run out of time, and you will become hopeless, which is now known as learned helplessness. So now you're codependent on a system that doesn't support you, and you will end up dying average or below average in ancestral perpetuity. So meaning that the moment they interrupted our signal, from colonialism to the creation of whiteness and white supremacy, this was into perpetuity. This is why they had a system in place that was supposed to be in place in perpetuity. Your signal was, but you can't interrupt God. You can't interrupt Amma. You can't fight nature. You can try to interrupt the signal of nature. You can try to kick the can, and that might take some years, like 500 years. But eventually, you're going to die, second frequency. And not only are you going to die, you ain't coming back this way again. Because now we have an epigenetic code and a memory of who you are. So the next time, if this happens again, and there's an ice age, everything's gonna come back black, because everything comes back black. But the next, if there's a next ice age, and there's a group of us that ends up getting caught in the ice, guess what? We now have an epigenetic memory. So when we see that second frequency coming out of the caves, you out before you even get an opportunity, because we now have a memory of trauma. Before, we didn't have a memory of trauma. Now we have a memory of trauma. This is what we have to do, family. So how can we restore this our first frequency signal and interrupt that signal? How can it be restored? Brother Andrew Muhammad and I have put together an 8-week clinic for massive manifestation. And this manifestation is not just about money. Yes, you're going to learn how to attract wealth and money. You're going to learn how to usurp the concept of weeks. You're going to learn how, like I do, and how many of our scholars and people that I have worked with, how to just make money 24/7. Like as I'm speaking to you right now, somebody in the world is downloading and buying tens of thousands of dollars worth of merchandise and intellectual property. You're going to learn that process. So here's what we're going to do. And I think they have the links that they're going to put in the chat. I can't see that yet, but before we wind down, this is going to start March 4th. So March 4th is a big day because it's going to be the day that first frequency marches 4th. So it's ironic that on March 4th is going to happen. So we're going to march forth with this first frequency signal interruption. So you learn how to collapse your time. You get your time back. You know how to manipulate matter. You know how to manipulate time. You will be able to decolonize your mind in many ways for the very first time. So all of this knowledge that you have amassed that you're still locking and looping is going to unlock for you. So a lot of you are going to call us up and say, oh my God, I've had massive breakthroughs, but I'm going to teach you concepts and processes that I have learned of how to control my mind. So when I am in situations, hostile second frequency situations, like I told a story about how I got pulled over, me and the Queen got pulled over by the cops. They were getting ready to beat me down. They had brought in probably about 10 squad cars. They was getting ready to Freddie Gray my ass. I completely won at the ancestral etheric level, collapsed that time, and I was able to control my mind. So I didn't say anything that would get me killed. I didn't make any gestures that would get me killed. And I was able to be calm in the middle of a genocidal storm. You're going to learn how to control your mind and control your thinking. But this is part of their signal interruption, is to keep you on edge, to keep you angry. And so you start to blow up, and when the moment you blow up, they take you out. This is what we're going to do. So 2 ways for you to be a part of this. This is what the course is going to look like. I'm going to give you complete homework assignments and really ferret this out. You're going to get access to the replays. This is going to be done through Zoom. It's going to be, I've never even presented it before, but this is something that I usually have done back in the day when I was third frequency. Yes, I was a third frequency brother, working with all these white folks. When I was working with Robert Kiyosaki and Susie Orman and interviewing all these Zig Ziglar and all of these cats, they taught me the game, and I would present on platforms with them, and we would produce, weeks and weeks of clinics and what have you. This is the first time that I'm giving it and offering it to my community. And so you're going to learn first, week one, the first frequency signals, spiritual solution to manifest any reality. So creating the power of what we call African intention. So you're going to learn the concept of intentionality, how to create an intentional signal that you send to the Akashic records to come down and congeal as a meme and a memeplex that manifests physically in physical form in your life. We call that in metaphysics demonstration. So you're going to learn that process week one. Week two, creating your intention and manifestation portal. So we're going to teach you how to go into what Reverend Billy Bird talks about, called the Black Room. We're going to teach you how to go into the Black Room and how to come out first frequency. That's what his quote is. Anything that goes into the Black Room comes out first frequency. You're going to learn that. You're going to learn in week three, cleansing and clearing your mimetic manifestation mind. There's a bunch of ish that is floating around in our heads that is causing us not to be able to concentrate, not to be able to think straight, not to be able to make intentions, and not to be able to goal set, or not to even be able to understand or see what an opportunity is. That is not you. You're not crazy. You're not dumb. You're not stupid. You are interrupted. That's it. You are interrupted, but nothing's wrong with you. So you're not, so it doesn't matter how old you are. I don't want to hear about that. It doesn't matter how much education you have or don't have. I don't want to hear about that. It doesn't matter how much money you have or don't have. I don't want to hear about that. When your signal is interrupted, none of this stuff works. Now, this is why we're seeing these high rates of suicide with people who you would think in our community have all the answers. No, their signal has been interrupted. You're going to learn how to control your mind. Then I'm going to teach you the system week 4, Dogonic manifestation, the trilogy activation. This is absolutely powerful. Shout out to Dr. Obadashaka for sending this to me, sharing this with me. It's also in his book, Integration Trap, Generation Gap. But I'm going to teach you how the Dogon manifested reality. And as a result of their apprenticeship process, when we incorporate, once we get in control of our minds, then we can teach others how to do the same thing. We can teach this then to our children, to our community, because in mimetics, in the science of mimetics, there's a term called vertical transmission. So before a meme can become mimetic, it has to first be shared. Well, the first time that something is shared with us is usually from a parent. And so from parent to child is called vertical transmission. From then there's another term called oblique transmission, and that is when we learn from the environment, from the community, and that's known as axiology from Dr. Edwin Nichols, of how our value systems are shaped. So week 5, you're then going to learn the process of mental rehearsal. So you might have been,
brother. This is brother. This is redemption. This is This is crazy.
Bro, this is how I got here, because I'm not, honestly, bro, I don't know if you know my story. Dude, I'm not supposed to be here, not just be able to do what I do. I'm not supposed to exist. And if I do exist, I'm supposed to either be mentally ill, in prison, or both, or dead. I'm not, so how did I get out? How did I escape crack addiction in Chicago? Because I'm from Chicago, right? So I come from this entire mimetical system that they did to try to when they took the black male out, when my parents died when I was 14. My sister became my legal guardian. She was crazy AF. And so how did I make it through this? I made it through because I understood and I started studying the mind. But it was also Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman, who at age 10 introduced me. This is a crazy story. Now you just sidebarred me. You know how you do, Brother Andrew Muhammad. This is all your fault. So sidebar. Sidebar story, true story. I'm 10 years old. My mother is given 3 to 4 months to live. She goes down to this church in Chicago, Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman, Christ Universal Temple. She learns these principles, and these principles that Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman taught. My mother ended up actually living till I was 4 years. So she died, she was diagnosed when I was 10. She lived till I was 14. Those principles she called the 7 powers of man. Now watch this from this African queen that was instilled to me at age 10. So this is how I knew Amma was interrupting and reinstalling my original signal that hopefully at some point during my lifetime, I would reinitiate. So watch this. So I am now doing my thing as a YouTuber, as an interviewer. I'm interviewing all these great minds, and somebody tells me about, well, you need to read the Pygmalion. Oh, okay, fine. Something else for me to read. I've already read a bunch of books. I've done 2,000 interviews. What now? What next? Okay. So I go and I read the Pygmalion. And the 7 principles in the Pygmalion was the 7 principles that Reverend Coleman gave me when I was 10 years old, called the 7 powers of man. But watch this, family. Watch this. No. It gets better. Then, because I'm African first frequency, I recognize and say, well, this is Greek. So this shit can't be right. But where did they steal it from? That's the first thing I always say. Whenever you get some great science from something white or European, they stole it. Where did it come from? Find the original frequency, cause of the effect. Always search for the cause of the effect, because for every effect. So I started talking to my scholars. Hey, yo, Baba Kaba, yo, Dr. Oba, yo, Dr. Jeffries, yo, Dr. Wade. What's the Professor James Small? Yo, what's this Pygmalion shit? What are these 7 principles? Oh no, that's somebody in one of the, oh, that's Thoth. Well, who is Thoth? No, Thoth is Jehuti. Oh, that's the dude. That's the dude that created the 7 principles that they still haven't been able to decode, but they keep hitting from us. They rename it, recode it, reclassify it under that 2nd frequency interruption signal, and here we are. So family, you're going to learn how to decode for the very first time using this process of mental rehearsal. Week 7, you're going to learn how to manifest the none, where all the money, where all the wealth is manifested mimetically. You're going to learn how to do that. I'm going to teach you my system so you become a mini-me, my system of affiliate marketing, how I was able to make enough money to be able to pay all of my bills and to get out of this system and not have to go and punch in and clock in to be around 2nd frequency people, because if they write you a check, they run your life. So I wanted to make sure, and I discovered there's at least a minimum of 3 billion Black people with cell phones on the planet. So if there's 3 billion of us with cell phones, why am I not accessing that? Why are you not accessing that? They don't want you to know how to do that. We're going to teach you how to do that. We're going to teach you how to go into the waters of none, AKA the what we call PPC, pay per click, using Facebook technology and learning how to target your own people, so you can get, if you got a business and you want to know how to get to 3 billion people, you want to know how they lock you out, so you don't have to go to 2nd frequency, or 2nd frequency won't come in and try to interrupt your signal. We'll teach you how to create the interest, the geography of how to target 3 billion Black people in the world. So whatever your product, service, or value is, you will be able to access that in the real time, because the internet, as Farrakhan said, the internet was made for Black people. The internet is just another version of the waters of none. It's the Akashic records, right? So then week 8, we're going to put all of it together, and then we're going to invoke the science of pre-commitment. Now, pre-commitment is powerful because there's a science that I teach called the Pygmalion Effect, and the Pygmalion Effect is when you do not give yourself any option to fail. In other words, it's, well, you might have heard the term, I'm going to jump and earn your wings on the way down. Once you have control of your mind, once you know that you are Amma in expression, made in the image and likeness of Amma, once you know that you are God, once you know that you are Amma, You ain't scared of a damn thing. And as a result, you can pre-commit and say, I speak it into being. When we say ashe and so it is, I'm speaking it into being because I know it already exists. It already exists. So I can't outthink the creator. I can't outcreate the creator. So it already exists. So I am calling on the ancestors. I'm calling on Amma. I'm calling on the Akashic records to bring this into my physical experience right now, right here, as I speak, in pre-commitment. Not commitment, pre-commitment. The waters of none. The beginning, before the beginning began. So before that, there's none, pata, and a tomb. So before a tomb, where you speak the word into existence, what was there before? So this is what we're going to learn, family, in this process. And, you know, lastly, this is for brothers and sisters who don't just want to believe they are African, but know they are African and Amma's first child, firstborn, and first frequency. This is not for my third and fourth frequency people who may feel they have successfully made it out. You know, you're driving around in your Lexus and your Mercedes, and you got your little Range Rover. You think you got it going on, but still, some of y'all are committing suicide, or your kids are committing suicide. So you think you got it going on, but your children are dying. Why? What happened to them? What did you not see? What did you not know? Because you're in that third frequency. You thought that your millions got you out. You thought that you were safe. No, if you are considered and call yourself a nigger or a Negro, you ain't safe. And so this is not for you if you think you are safe and you think you got it going on. No, this is for first frequency people. This is for people who say, I am African first. I am Amma's firstborn and first chosen. This is for the brothers and sisters who have been left behind, who nobody talks to or talk about anymore. This is for the brothers and sisters who have been minimized, marginalized, and left out, told, like myself, this is me now, told that I would never be anything, I'll never be shit, I'll never make it out. Philippe, you're a functional illiterate. That's what was told to me. See, I can't be all of those labels of autotoxic and exotoxic memes if I'm standing here or sitting here right now, speaking and teaching to you at the highest level. I am Jehuti. You are Jehuti. We are Ammas in expression right now. This is for those who have psychologically, emotionally, and academically or economically have been castrated. You've been casted out. You've been told, you ain't shit, you black. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're dumb, stupid, simple, and slow. You're an imbecile, you're a dotard. Your people are, your family are, your kids are. This is what this is what it's for. Restore, decolonize, go back to the one. What does the one mean? James Brown said, make it on the one, give it to me on the one. This is what he was talking about. This is what this is for the brother and sister who has tried everything. And some of you, and I know because I'm that dude. Man, I tried I tried Gestalt, I tried NLP, I tried every damn thing. The different levels of theology, all types of religion, nothing worked. I failed privately, and in many ways, I also failed publicly. But as a result, it creates a learned helplessness. So you end up not doing anything. See, some of you out there right now saying, yes, this sounds great, but you got a butt there. You got an asterisk. Why do you have a butt there? Get off that damn butt. I know you got a butt because you're afraid. You're scared. I've tried this before. I've done this before. Boy, he really sounds good. No, I'm not sounding good. This is not good. This is Amma. This is God. This is the truth of who you are. You have been taught not to think. You have been taught to think in a signal that is designed to interrupt your life so that you run out of time, so that you grow old and you die with your music still in you. This got to stop. It ends here. It ends now. This is for the brothers and sisters who have lost hope, lost faith, lost time, and feels as if they're running out of time and can never change, alter, or improve what has been done to them. Yes, you have been violated. Yes, we have been violated, but we are not violated people. We will be victorious. We are not victims. We are not broken. We are simply interrupted. And our signal now is getting ready to be restored. This is for the brothers and sisters. If you feel stuck, if you feel frozen in their time, This is the time for those who are feeling trapped in trauma and drama and sees no logical way out. This is your way back home, family. If you find it in your heart to make a $1 or more donation, become a part of our ministry, become a part of our family, go to patreon.com/RevShock, become a First Frequency member. I've got so much content in there, it's ridiculous. I've got interviews that can change your life and give you information. Dr. Ferguson has information in there that changes your life. We are one with the one in that community. I would love to see you over there to be a part of this process. I'll be giving my First Frequency Patreon members special information, special access to some of the information that's going to be shared in these 8 weeks. And so that being said, Brother Andrew Muhammad, here we go. Let's do it. This is the memeplex that restores us. This is the memeplex that interrupts second frequency signal interruption. This is it. Affirmation of power and protection. This is our Medusa, I think is the term that Lady Adele spoke of. This is it. I am one with first frequency. I am one with the first thought idea. I am one with the firstborn people. I am therefore one with the only one. Ashe. And so it is.
Jeez! Brother Reverend, Brother Dr. Shock. Oh my God, brother. Sister Monica says, tears are welling up in my eyes and my hair is on my arms are standing. Oh gosh, I've even lost I'm standing straight up. Sister Sandra Robertson says, I'm already on it. She ain't wasting time. She says she's already lined up. Sister Carol Hodges says, can she pay through PayPal?
Yes, I think you can. I'm not sure, but I think you can. When you click on the link, it should give you the option to be able to do so.
One of our great queens. I love this. She's been with us since day one, beloved. Sister Alicia Oswald says, how long after it ends do we have access to go back over it? And I think she's talking about the course each week.
Oh, you'll have lifetime access to the replays.
Yeah, that's Sister Lifetime.
Yeah.
Mark V says, are brown Latino people allowed? Can brown Latino people be allowed?
Yes, because you're not brown or Latino. You're African. Now you might. I hope you're not in denial of that, because African is your ancestry. Your heritage is Hispanic.
Come on, big brother.
So let's just understand that's where you come from.
Come on, big brother. Brothers and sisters, this is and brothers and sisters, you should know the Investigator by now. I am, you know that some people say, Andrew, you've bitten off more than you can chew. But brothers and sisters, with your support, there's nothing I can bite that I can't choose, brothers and sisters. You've seen the work for decades taking place, and you know that we are literally givers on this platform. We give, and we support. So when we got someone like Reverend Shock, an international, gigantic force and mind on the platform, this brother is near enough. You know, for all these, for the year that he's been on this platform, he hasn't taken a penny. Remember that. He does it out of his own time, out of his own heart. Yeah. This time that's now, true. Brothers, since we want to.
I didn't think about that. We got to talk about that. No, I'm just messing with you. I'm just playing.
We've got to create this course, brothers and sisters. This brother loves Hidden Truth so much.
I do
so much that I don't know how he's doing it. He's doing this for $2.99 for 8 weeks, brother. For 8 weeks, how much would you normally charge? For 8 weeks?
This is a $1,500 program.
It's a $1,500 program.
I used to do with the
$2.99 on this platform for Hidden Truth followers. $299 for $1,500 program. This is awesome, brothers and sisters. We're going to be supporting this. Myself, Lady Adele, we're going to be dropping some of our wisdom, some of our knowledge, but I can't take no credit, and I refuse. Because one thing I've learned in my life: do not take credit for other people's accomplishments. This brother, this is the brother I want you to be directed to, man. Myself, Lady Adele, we're going to be supporting him. But this brother, he's the one. You've heard him tonight. You've heard him tonight, brothers and sisters. And we want to give power and Sani Banani to this king. Reverend, you're an amazing doctor of love. Sisters,
thank you, my beloved.
Thank you, my king. Samira, are you still with us? What did you think of tonight, beloved? You heard the brother live and direct for yourself.
There's no words. There's no point in me commenting because everything that you have said and everyone in the comments have said, I'll just be taking up time. Reverend Shock, sir, you just need to read the comments. There is no point in me adding anything to what everyone has said in the chat. As we were
y'all gonna make me cry. Y'all trying to make me cry like Oprah in 1986. That's what y'all trying to do. I'm not gonna do it. Y'all trying to have me like Viola Davis up in fences with snap bubbles coming out. I'm not doing it.
No,
I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna be strong. I'm gonna be strong.
No, you're strong, but there's no shame in getting emotional because I'm telling you, replay. For myself personally, this replay will be going on and on for the rest of the week to make sure that it is sitting not only in my head, but also at a cellular level.
Yes,
Hear
thank
me.
you, Goddess.
Hear
Thank
me.
you for that.
And I
Thank
know
you.
that there are other people that are feeling the same way. But I've been having to type to say, we'll have the replay, don't worry, we'll have the replay. It's serious. So thank you so much. That's all
Thank you so much.
Brothers and sisters, the replay, inshallah, God willing, the replay will be available from tomorrow. I'm asking, brothers and sisters, I don't normally ask this at all, but I asked this from last week and it did jump up big time. Brothers and sisters, can you please subscribe to my channel, Sister Samira? Can you please put the link for the my YouTube channel? Because once you're a subscriber to the YouTube channel, which I'm going to start using more now, brothers and sisters, Reverend Shock has taught me this. I've got to start using the YouTube facilities. It's on time. We're going to start doing some of our shows from YouTube because right now we only specialize on Zoom. But so I'm asking you, brothers and sisters, can you please subscribe? Sister Samira is going to put the link on. Can you subscribe to my YouTube channel, whereby as soon as we put this on, you will be notified. Brother Reverend Shock, where can we find out more about you?
You can go on Instagram at Rev Shock, on IG, on YouTube, Shock Ministries, or just, and I don't want to sound arrogant, but because I have another part that I've mastered, which is why I'm able to teach this internet money situation, is since 1998, I've been in the .com industry. I had my own .com, and I've mastered this thing called the internet, this thing called SEO, search engine optimization. So you can literally just type my name either in Amazon, I've written over 20 books, or in Google or in YouTube, type in Rev Shock or Metaphysical Morpheus, and everything pops up. But we have a YouTube channel that probably has over 800 interviews with the greatest thinkers and minds, Andrew Muhammad being one of them that's been on our platform. On IG, I just teach daily principles of first frequency on Instagram. And of course, we have multiple Facebook pages and groups in Shock Metaphysics and First Frequency. So you can find us pretty much in any platform.
Brother Reverend, I'd like to, Sister Angela Barrows, you've touched my heart, sister. Reverend Shock, Dr. Reverend, she has just stated, my life has just begun right now. Thank you, Reverend Shock. And I think those words are really summing up the feeling. Brother Brian said, lick shot from Babylon, Big Brother Philippe. I told you not to hurt him. True facts and evidence. My Aunt Hotep. Sister Kaz says, no PayPal isn't an option. There's no link. I'm on there right now. So Reverend, at some time we can look at the link.
We'll figure that out. But otherwise, just use a credit card. Or credit or debit card, so if you can't do it with PayPal.
Sister Kaz Joseph, don't worry, sister. We're gonna get that sorted for you. We get something locked down, but it's just amazing. That's what I love about this platform, brothers and sisters. You are so amazing. We don't waste our time because you show us the love. We're asking you to walk with Brother Andrew Mohammed, walk with the Hidden Truth team, because this year we are going to make bigger steps. And Reverend Shock, Dr. Reverend Shock, is a part of the big steps that we're going to be making. With your support, I'm telling you, man, with your support, there is nothing we can't do. This is what he's teaching us about the first frequency. There is nothing we can't do once we align ourselves with that spiritual mind that connects each and every one of us with the almighty force of the universe. Yeah, we become Amu as well. So literally, Sister Elaine says, so inspirational and educational, amazing. Such a rich evening. Thank you. Sister Carol Hodges says, I used the credit card and she's already on it. Brothers and sisters, you need to get on this program, man. I will be advertising it every single week. Walk with us, join us, so that we can all move on to that one level of Amu straight away, brothers and sisters. We all want to move together, make this our year.
May I make a correction, my brother? Because there's a difference between Amu and Ama. Amu is second frequency.
Oh God, Ama. Woo! Thank you for that correction.
I know. I did it too. I did it too.
Make it plain.
Gotta that's because this is Mimetics. Ama. So think of Ama. Ama is Dogonic. Ama is the term that comes from that created the term Ma'at and created the term Ma and Mama, which is why we use Mama. It's the female, the goddess, is the first principle. And so Ama, when you is both divine feminine and both and divine masculine, but Ama is Mama, Ma'at. That's how you remember it.
Come on, big brother. Thank you. Each one teach one. Is our brother still there, or is it me?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, my king, for the correction. Thank you, my king. Brothers and sisters, if you're feeling our Reverend Dr. Shock tonight, please, not for me. In the chat room, put down lick shot pon Babylon. Come on, man. If you're feeling Reverend Shock tonight, drop the ones. If you're feeling Dr. Shock tonight, tell him about Rock Stone. If you're feeling Reverend Shock tonight, tell him freedom for all of our people. If you're feeling Reverend Shock tonight, say Buffalo Soldier, Dreadlock Rastafari. You done know, big man. We want to show this Reverend man that he's not wasting his time when he joins us. Yeah, he doesn't waste his time. Brothers and sisters, what a night. That's all I'm going to say to you, brothers and sisters. What a beautiful night, man. And you have made it even more beautiful. We want to thank Reverend Shock. Don't forget, it's the first course of its kind. We had Dr. Elaine Ferguson set that course off about trauma. Now we're dealing with collapsing time, an 8-week clinic for massive manifestation. Spread the word, get the link. You can go onto my website, theinvestigator.org.uk, and the links will take you straight to Reverend Shock. Let's get on this platform together, brothers and sisters. It's aimed at mastering the ancient African sacred science that we call today metaphysics, teaching us how to get back our time and the science of the black room, black matter, and the waters of Nun. Come on, man. Starts Friday. When? Marching 4th. That's how you got to remember it, man. The doctor taught us to that today. March 4th. Yeah? Brothers and sisters, this is an amazing time. We're going to be blowing it up as we go along. We thank you. Dr. Keftusa,